In the corner of Simon's, a group of shady elves in druidic armor seemed to be shit-talking Jace, Popa, and Hayden among everyone else celebrating them. After ignoring them at first, one elf in particular made her way to the bar in particularly decorated armor to refill her cup. Upon doing so, she was approached by Popa. He offered to buy her a drink, and she spat on the counter, telling him she knew exactly who he was and had no interest in small talk or favors. Confused, Popa returned to the party and told them what had happened, at which point Simon informed them that he caught word of the elves plotting to defeat the Blue Knight themselves even before the party showed up, so when Popa and Hayden gathered an army and did it themselves, it sort of beat the elves to the punch. Simon didn't know much about the wood elves that inhabited the woods around Haven, but he did know that the woman Popa previously spoke to was their queen, or if not queen then some sort of royalty. After the party finished their drinks, Simon agreed to show them around the place, having made some modifications here and there since they'd seen each other. They started with the kitchen. Upon walking in, there was an immediate sound of hurried footsteps, fast and rapid. Metal clinging, towels beating, knives slicing, water boiling, the ambience of the newly renovated spotless kitchen hit their ears, but nothing hit their eyes. They looked around, but no one seemed to be here. Simon cleared his throat. Masters Popa, Jace, and Hayden, allow me to introduce you to the new executive chef at Simon's Sippery, Pablo. At which point a 3-foot-tall goblin with a pencil-thin mustache and a chef's hat hopped up onto the middle island, and took a slight bow. Without raising his head, he slowly lifted his gaze, and in a low French accent. "A pleasure, however, you are no chef. Please leave." With a chuckle from Simon and a firm "Yes sir," with a salute, he escorted the party back up to the lofted balcony on the second floor, where he reminded them that the last time they saw each other before separating, Simon said they'd always have a beds in Haven if they chose to return. So he showed them to their rooms. Jace took the room reserved for Chubbeth. Speaking of which, Simon hadn't heard anything from him other than he was somewhere underground looking for a good location to settle down with the rest of the freed. They rested after a night of drinking with the dwarves, Bordvo famously crowd surfing on another dwarf, and the party infamously waking up with strangers in their beds the next morning. Bordvo gave Jace a jump scare by emerging from the shadows in the corner of their room, unsure if he was there the entire night. That day they bought Jace armor and headed to the exit portal, but before reaching it stopped at the front gate of the Blue Castle. Hayden poured a drink out for the fallen, and they took a moment to remember what they went through the first time they came here. Jace was able to witness it firsthand. As they entered the throne room, the carnage had not yet been completely cleaned from the space. There was blood still on the walls, scorch marks on the ground, and bones from limbs left behind around the swirling familiar mirror-like substance. Flashbacks ran past Popa and Hayden's minds as they approached the portal. They couldn't stay there long.